Hey everyone, welcome back to Firsthand Globetrotting. Today's about thrills and excitement while I show you the Six Flags America Amusement Park. It's a big park with a lot to see and do, so I'm going to break it up into two videos. In this one, I'll start by giving you an intro to the park and where it is. Then I'll tell you about 5 of the neighborhoods: Main Street 1776, Looney Tunes Movie Land, Whistlestop Park, Mardi Gras, and Coyote Creek. I'll do a second video on the rest of the areas: Hurricane Harbor, Gotham City, and Chesapeake. Check out the video description for a link to that one. Okay, so let's start with where it is. The park is in Prince George's County, Maryland, about 15 miles from Washington, D.C., and about 35 miles from Baltimore. If you're coming from out of town, there aren't any hotels on site, but there are a few of them around 5 to 10 miles away. So you'll probably need to drive to get there. But that's pretty easy since there's a nice big pay parking lot at the park. After you park, it's a short walk to the front gate. The park has a colonial America and Revolutionary War theme, and you can see that style right from the main entrance. Once you scan your ticket and go through the metal detectors at security, you'll be in the first neighborhood, Main Street 1776. There's a replica of the Liberty Bell right near the front entrance as soon as you walk in. This area keeps the park theme going with an old-timey city street design and a bunch of stores lining the road. Most of them are gift shops, so you'll have plenty of chances to spend your money on souvenirs on your way in and out. There are also a few restaurants and snack stands and a few of the customer service booths. Chances are you'll end up seeing a few of the Looney Tunes characters along the road, since they're usually there taking pictures with people. There's really only one ride in this neighborhood, the Flying Carousel. It's a swing ride that slowly raises you up from the ground as it spins and tilts. There's an even bigger and higher swing ride in the park, but this one is usually the first ride people see when they come in. The neighborhood also has the Grand Theater. They have live shows there throughout the day, and when I went it was R&B Rewind. It has performers singing and dancing to popular R&B songs, and it has a Motown theme to it. I found the live shows usually weren't very busy, but they were a great place to take a break if you wanted to get out of the sun on a hot day. The next neighborhood is Looney Tunes Movie Land. This area is almost exclusively for younger kids, and most of the rides aren't big enough for adults. The whole place is brightly colored with Looney Tunes characters and decorations everywhere you look. One of the rides adults can go on with their kids is the Great Chase. It's a kid-sized roller coaster that has a Roadrunner and Wile E. Coyote theme. There are a few downhill areas, but it's mostly a lot of tight twists and turns to give younger visitors their first taste of what a roller coaster is like. Parents can also join their kids on Yosemite Sam's Hollywood Flight School. The children act as pilots, and their planes go up and down in the sky as they twirl around Yosemite Sam in the control tower. Another ride is Pepe Lepew's Tea Party. It's mostly a kid's version of a teacup ride, slowly spinning the kids around in their cups. But it also raises and lowers them slightly, adding a little more movement to the ride. Next up is Foghorn Leghorn's Tinseltown Train. The name pretty much says it all. It's a small train that takes the riders around a tiny figure-8 track, with Foghorn Leghorn watching them from the middle. For kids that want a little bit more of a thrill, there's Sylvester's Pounce and Bounce. It slowly lifts the riders up from the ground and then drops them back down to earth. Definitely a lot more exciting than some of the other kids' rides. Another more exciting ride is Tazz's Filmworks. Riders sit in swing seats attached to ropes. As the ride speeds up, they get a little bit of speed and fun as they're spun around the circular track. It's pretty much the kids' version of the Flying Carousel that I showed you earlier. Things slow back down with Elmer's Around the World in 80 Seconds. The kids ride in hot air balloons that slowly spin in a circle while popping up and down. And for kids who just want to run around to burn off some energy, they can go to Looney Tunes Prop Warehouse. It's a big 2-level indoor playroom, so no need to wait in any lines. It has slides, climbing areas, and hundreds of balls everywhere. There are all sorts of tubes that the balls can be put in that end up firing them up into the air or dumping them down from the ceiling. And there are even some ball cannons that the kids can use to launch balls at their friends and parents. It's a great option for any kids who just want a little free-form play after a day full of rides. There's also the Looney Tunes stage. It had 2 different shows playing on it. The first was Let's Dance, where some performers sing and dance to pop songs. The second was We Got the Beat. In this one, Looney Tunes characters take to the stage and do some singing and dancing of their own. So, as you've seen, Looney Tunes Movie Land is great for younger children since the rides are smaller and slower. Another area geared towards younger visitors is Whistlestop Park. The theme of this neighborhood is trains, and you need to cross some train tracks to get in. And if you want a ride that goes along those tracks, there's the Whistlestop train. It makes a short loop around the neighborhood, passing by most of the other rides. Or, for an even tinier train ride, there's Happy Junction. Not quite as much to see on this track, but it makes for a short trip for younger riders. Another nearby ride is Whistlestop Whirlybirds. Riders get to fly a helicopter around in a circle and use the controls to make it fly higher in the air or descend back to lower altitude. Keeping on the transportation theme is Whistlestop Bus Line. Riders get a little bit higher in the air than most of the other rides I've shown you so far. Basically, it takes riders on a looping bus route through the sky. But you can get even higher with Up, Up, and Away. It's a smaller sized Ferris wheel that takes the riders on a little balloon ride over Whistlestop Park. It doesn't go too high, but you'll still get some interesting views of the park. But if you want to come back down to earth a little quicker, there's Sky Jumper. You get slowly raised to the top of the Whistlestop water tower before being dropped right back down. It's bigger than Sylvester's Pounce and Bounce that I showed you earlier, but it's not the tallest drop ride at the park. The last thing to do in Whistlestop Park is visit the Whistlestop Playground. It's 3 stories tall with plenty of things to climb and slides to slide down. Another great spot for kids to run wild after patiently waiting in lineups. And right next to the playground is Splash Zone, a little fountain area where kids can cool down. The next neighborhood I'll show you is Mardi Gras. This one's made to look like New Orleans during Mardi Gras, and the rides start to get a little bit bigger and faster. One of the first ones you'll see is Ragin Cajun. It has a big roller coaster track, but you don't move too quickly around it. You ride in circular cars, so the excitement comes from how they spin you around as you snake down the track. Next, you can zoom through the sky in French Quarter Flyers. The ride swings you around in little flying machines attached to ropes, and you can steer the front rudder to make it tilt to the side as you go. Next up is Voodoo Drop. I've shown you a few of the smaller drop rides, but if you want to go even higher up in the air and be dropped even faster down to the ground, then this ride's for you. If you've been waiting for a serious roller coaster, there's the Wild One. It's a wooden roller coaster that was built over 100 years ago and is nearly 100 feet tall. The track goes right through the center of the park, so you'll get a great view as you zoom down the track. You can slow things back down on Zydeco Zinger. The ride starts out slowly swinging like a pendulum, but as you start picking up speed, it eventually takes you in a complete 360-degree circle. For the thrills of a roller coaster but on a single circular track, try Bourbon Street Fireball. The cars zoom around the tracks and at some points leave the riders upside down hanging over the ground. So it mixes speed with heights with the sensation of hanging upside down. The last ride in this area is one of the only ones you need to pay extra for, Big Easy Speedway. It's pretty much a standard go-kart track where you race other people under the tracks of the Wild One. So the one nice thing is that there usually aren't very long lines, since most people just stick to all the free rides. The last neighborhood I'll show you in this video is Coyote Creek. The theme is a Wild West frontier town with old-fashioned buildings lining the street. It's one of the smaller neighborhoods at Six Flags America, but has a few interesting rides. The first ride is Rodeo, where you ride a bull. The bull spins and tilts as you go, with the entire ride spinning you around even more. Next up is Coyote Creek Crazy Cars. It's kind of like a bumper car racetrack where everyone drives around the oval while knocking the other riders out of the way. If you want an excuse to get splashed, there's Renegade Rapids. You ride in a tube down a whitewater river, and it ends up spinning you around and dropping you down little bumps that make the water splash into your tube. But the biggest ride here is the Mind Eraser. The track actually connects above your head, so it leaves your feet dangling below you. As it twists and spins and twirls around, you end up upside down and on your side as you zip through the track. This is one of the most popular coasters at Six Flags America, so you'll want to check it out. After all those rides, you can rest for a bit in the Crazy Horse Saloon. It's a restaurant, but they also put on live shows there. When I was there, it was at the Hop, a 1950s themed show where the performers sing and dance to classic songs. So that's the first part of my guide to Six Flags America. I showed you the entry area, Main Street 1776, the kid-focused areas, Looney Tunes Movie Land and Whistlestop Park, and then I finished with some bigger and faster rides in Mardi Gras and Coyote Creek. In the next video, I'll show you the 3 remaining neighborhoods. There's Hurricane Harbor, the water park area, Gotham City with all the superhero roller coasters, and Chesapeake, a big area with all sorts of rides. Make sure to check the video description for the link to that video. Thanks for watching, and if you have any questions about Six Flags America, ask me in the comments. And while you're at it, like the video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to my channel. On Instagram, I'm Firsthand Globetrotting. On Twitter, I'm Firsthand Globe. Follow me on there. And don't forget, it's an incredible world out there, so pick up your passport and do some firsthand globetrotting of your own.